Call this meeting to order tonight, the October 25th, 2021 Village of Villa Park Village of Board Trustee Meeting. Clerk Kornecki, please call the roll.
Trustee Silella.
Here.
Trustee Corkery.
Here.
Trustee Kozar.
Here.
Trustee Kumar.
Here.
Trustee Murphy. Here. Trustee Patrick.
Here.
President Kazone.
Here. And we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a minute afterwards, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to share meaningful discussions that will affect the staff, directors, and the residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen. Okay, item number 3, public comments on agenda items. Clerk Kornecki, do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, I have Justin Schlensky is first regarding 7B.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, adjust that real quick. All right, here to just give a couple thoughts and comments on 7B, which is before you, I believe, for first reading tonight. I've taken a look at this multiple times along with the applicable section of the Illinois statutes. I've actually asked some colleagues and friends of mine who are also attorneys to take a look at this. And the only consistent statement that I've gotten is that they're baffled by the inconsistencies within the statute itself. It looks like it's written with too many nevertheless or howevers or notwithstandings, such that it's kind of contrived to really read like 3 different sections thrown into one. So based on those inconsistencies which you're attempting to mirror with this proposal, I would just ask that maybe a little bit more diligence go into the review process and the thought of potentially enacting an amendment to a newer ordinance that is literally not even 6 months old. I think it'll be 6 months old tomorrow, that was passed as maybe the last act by the previous administration. Again, thankfully it's only up for the first reading tonight that you won't actually take any action on this. But I think that you really need to kind of take a look, because there's language still in the act itself. This is 235 ILCS 5/6-2, which is the law that you're attempting to mirror. It still references the sale of alcoholic liquor pursuant to the license is incidental to the selling of food. So by attempting to strike that language, you're doing away with what the law actually provides. And as a home state rule, or home rule village, excuse me, as a home rule village, oh, did it just go out?
No.
Okay. You can be more restrictive if you so choose so. The last sentence really of the act, as long as the council or the board over which he or she presides, meaning the village president in this case, has made a local liquor law control commissioner appointment that complies with the requirements of section 4-2 of this act. That is in regards to if a village president were to become, if a liquor license holder were to become village president. I think that the language that you currently have in the proposal really needs to dive deeper to make it completely consistent with Article 2, Section 3. Article 2, Section 3, specifically 3-202, with regards to the Control Commission and the actions that president can or cannot take, and those potential conflicts of interest. So, no, I'm short on time here. I really just ask that as you work through this, I'm sure that you've relied on staff and your own attorney, just find that the language that you're proposing does have some inconsistencies as to the actions that a potential village president can or cannot take, and what actions he or she must then recuse him or herself from if you're going to open up to the village president level of being someone that can hold, or someone that already holds a liquor license. The last thing I really want to get to, and I'm sorry that I'm going over time, is if you have a village president that holds a liquor license who must recuse him or herself, along with potentially a larger board of liquor license holders, to what point does it become ineffective to have a board full of liquor license holders. You will have the inability, if you will, to take votes on increasing liquor licenses for any class or category, whatever the differentiation is, as we call it in our code. Don't rush into something now that you're going to pass the buck on to fix, to have another administration fix later. Get it right the first time. Don't move too hastily. Take the next couple of weeks, as you will, to really flush this thing out. Maybe you have to go back to the drawing board on this. Thanks.
Thanks, Justin. Anyone else?
Yes, Cheryl Tucker, also 7B.
Hello. I just want to clarify, I don't have a problem with a trustee having a liquor license. I just believe that the original ordinance that was put in was because the board felt that a business or a person holding a liquor license would not be able to separate themselves from their personal and business agenda to be impartial, to represent the people. I would like to applaud the board for following through with your campaign promises that you would look at the updating the ordinances as a whole and not on an individual need or basis. Jason also answered my question on asking the board not to, because this affects the whole village, and that I think you need to just dive into it and have a good discussion tonight, that you don't allow to make a vote and not make a second reading on this. But I believe ordinances have to go to a second reading. Is that correct? That you
Yeah.
can't? Okay.
Yes, unless the
That's what
board
I
votes
thought.
to bypass
Right.
the
Well, I'm
process.
asking the board not to do that, to vote to not to go to a second reading tonight, so that the residents can actually check into this Illinois liquor code that you as a board will be discussing tonight, which allows certain elected officials under certain circumstances and conditions to hold a liquor license. As I said, I don't have a problem with that, but I do have a problem with some of those changes. As Jason did, it's going to cause an effect if the trustees fill the board and have liquor license, if we have more than them, and that the village president also holds a liquor license. In the future, that will cause a problem. I also, if you do approve what's coming across from you, will the board also be amending Article 2, Section 3201, 3202, and 3203, making these changes that are being proposed tonight to the agenda that you're discussing on Chapter 3, Section 309 will cause a domino effect that the other ordinances will need to be looked at and changed before they also become an issue. So in summary, I'm just asking the board to allow a second reading on this. I'm asking you to share what Illinois liquor codes you are standing for or you are representing tonight that will mirror the changes that go to the Illinois code, because as I was trying to read it over, it was very confusing to me what changes we made originally as a board, as the board made originally, what the difference is, except for the few changes of now the president of, if you become a president, you also would be in that category of being able to change things. And if that's the case, then we definitely would have to change 3201, 3202, and 3203 in the future to amend those things if you're going to pass those amendments.
Okay, thanks, Cheryl. Okay, anyone
No
else?
one else.
Okay. Seeing that, we have moved to item number 4, amendments to the agenda. Do we have any amendments requested here? Okay. Seeing none, we will go to item number 5A, presentation by the Community Fund Commission of the 2021 Halloween Decoration Awards. Take it away, ladies.
Dun, dun, dun. I am Tracy Gabriel with the Community Fund Commission, and that stands for Focusing on Unifying Neighbors. I apologize for my voice. I spoke at a conference today all day.
And I'm Leslie Ellison, CI, also with the Fund Commission.
My partner in crime. All right. I know how you guys all like these presentations. Nick, President Kazone, I know that you like these the most. So here we go. We're here tonight to, oh, we even got lighting effect tonight. Yeah. Just you stand next to me, it'll be okay. The 2021 Halloween decoration nominations and winners. I want to let everybody know we went out and looked at the Halloween decorations on a full moon.
Whether we wanted to or not.
Poor Leslie was
Just
a
saying.
little scared. We saw really cool decorations, and tonight we're going to award the spookiest, which is more like family friendly, and the scariest, which is more like frightening. These were two of my favorite photos from that evening. It was pretty cool. We're going to get right into it. So this house is 33 North Addison. We called it the Haunted Graveyard. This was actually our first stop on our tour of the evening. We pulled up on the side of the road, and Leslie gets out of the vehicle and starts walking down the person's driveway, and the guy's like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Leslie, we can't like just invade people's privacy right now." They went inside and turned on the holograms in the windows, and these things were moving back and forth from each window. They were pretty scary. And Chief, I wanted to let you know, we did ask you this year, or did remind you we were driving around to do this, because last year we forgot to tell you, and I'm pretty sure we freaked out some neighbors. So we told Chief this year. The next house that we went to is 33 South Summit. And this house only needs one word to describe it. Spider. This spider is the size of this boardroom. It is gigantic. It's really kind of scary. The next house we went to is pumpkins, pumpkins, and pumpkins. I couldn't count how many dang pumpkins there were, but they were awesome. They were everywhere. They lit up beautiful with the purple house and the cute little ghost in the corner, and then little skeleton guy hanging out behind the cobweb there. The next house we went to, you're never going to make it to the front door with the cobwebs. And they're definitely not going to get any candy because that's Chucky. There's also a graveyard with a coffin that's open. They also decorated their lamp pole. And they also have skeletons coming from the chimney. That might be a problem, so I think somebody might need to go check that out. This is where the werewolf was at, and I think this is Michael J. Fox from Teen Wolf. And we have some landscaping guys going on. They're trying to bury a body. They couldn't find where to bury it, so they hung it from a tree. And we have Frankenstein Scarecrow. And this is the house that I renamed Scare the Pants Off of Leslie, because Kathy Halloran here was hanging out with us that night going through as part of the commission, and she was lurking behind the tree scaring Leslie while we were on Facebook Live, so you would hear Leslie jump up and be scared. So she was pretty scared for that one.
Thank you.
I will also tell you that I think I found Leslie scared off of her pants because she's underneath the tree as a skeleton. This is my favorite house. There's little skeletons that are stealing the arm of the large skeleton by using a ladder. I'm not sure this is the kind of teamwork we want to promote in Villa Park, but it was actually pretty cute and pretty funny. So if you get a chance, you need to pull over and look at that house because the dog and the skeleton sitting on the ground are also enjoying it. The next house was called Ghost in the Graveyard, and it's on Michigan. And at this house, they have skeletons that didn't even make it into the ground. They're all hanging out outside of the ground instead of all being buried. Big old ghosts scaring people. Leslie was scared at this house too, by the way. The next house. Anybody remember the movie Ghostbusters? I'm pretty sure this is where it started. At 36 East Elm, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. There's also a house on 422 Monterey, and it's a skeleton archway. So there's a bunch of skeletons on the archway and a giant skeleton. And somebody has a birthday right around the corner, so that's also pretty fun. Want to be that kid for sure. At 32 East Oak, it's called Trick or Treat. This house looked awful cute. It had kind of like a kid theme, and it was really fun. Leslie was even having a good time.
I was.
until you saw the scary dog kid baby, whatever that thing is. But Leslie didn't like that and ran back to the car. So tonight we are here to present the spookiest winner. The winner will receive, and it is 442 South Monterey for Pumpkins, Pumpkins, Pumpkins. We have a few things that we're going to present to them. We're presenting to them these little, hold on, little miniature figurines that somehow did not show up in my PowerPoint, so I apologize for that. But we got this little cute little pumpkin as well. Oh, yeah. And this little cute pumpkin says spookiest house in Villa Park, and then it says home, sweet, haunted home. So we'd like to present this to the Conquest family that's sitting right here with us today. So welcome and congratulations. Those are your little figurines. They didn't get into my set here. And then the scariest, most frightening house. Do you like the crow? That's a little scary. Okay, sorry. And that house is going to scare the pants off of Leslie house with the hanging dead body, Chucky, and everything else that was there for that night.
And of course, they're not here, so
We
you
weren't,
take it there.
so Leslie's making me have to take this to the homeowners because Leslie is not going anywhere near 611 South Oakland. So she's a big scaredy cat. She much prefers doing the holiday decorations.
And to that end, we will be at the Trick or Treat down the street on Villa Avenue this Saturday from 1 until 3 p.m. And then at 3 p.m., there will be a Halloween costume contest in Cortese Park. So make sure that you guys all come out for that.
Awesome.
All right.
So thank you very much for letting us present, and we want to remind everybody we're doing fall decorations for November, so those are more geared towards Thanksgiving or fall. And then we're also doing some in Christmas time for the Christmas, New Year's time. So we're going to have to be on the agenda again, Manager Keener. 2 more times, please. Thanks for the smile. I got a little nod. And we appreciate the board's time. This is such a fun event to get people together and to look at the decoration.
Can you show what the award is for Scary?
Oh, yes, sorry, forgot about that.
Mary worked really hard on it.
Yes. And then for the Scary, Mary, our newest commission member, decorated a plate, and it's an eyeball. And it says, Scariest House in Villa Park, 2021. And it says, presented by the Fun Commission, and congratulations. And
Not
that's,
food safe.
and the plate is not food safe. So she's even very concerned that people would use this to eat. So we'll get that to the family as well.
Perfect.
And this was done by one of our commissioners,
Yes.
because she's very artsy crafty.
Yeah,
Thank you,
we're not
Mary.
that. So thank you very much to the board for having us tonight. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Thanks, ladies. Nice job. And thank the commission. That's a lot of hard work, a lot of driving around looking at spooky places.
Keeping
and
Leslie out of
and
trouble.
Getting Leslie scared all the time.
Done with that.
Yes. All right.
Okay, with that, we will move on to item 5B, Budget 101. And for this, I'll turn it over to Manager Keenan.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I'm going to turn it over to Finance Director Scheibel to kind of go through a few things. As the board and staff and already knows that the budget's been provided to the village president and the trustees. So folks at home and in the audience, the budget has been prepared for calendar year 2022. It's been provided to the elected officials. And a month from now, we'll be presenting the budget to everyone during a November, I think, 22nd meeting, if I'm not mistaken. But at this time, Marlene's going to kind of go through a Budget 101 presentation, kind of describing some of the funds and how everything's put together. And then, Your Honor, I'll probably have a couple of comments after that.
Okay.
Thank you, Manager Keener. So I'm not sure how easy this will be to follow the Fund Commission with a budget presentation, but I'll do my best. So GFOA presents a Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, and they've established this award in 1984 to encourage and assist state and local governments to prepare budget documents of the very highest quality. To earn recognition, budget documents must meet program criteria and excel as a policy document, financial plan, operations guide, and communications tool. Villa Park has received the Distinguished Budget Award for 29 consecutive years, and just as a reference, about 124 governments in Illinois received the award for 2020. What is a budget? A budget is a financial, operating, planning, and communication tool. Budgeting and accounting are different. A budget is a law, and accounting is a set of rules for recording revenue and expense. Budgets look forward and analyze the past, and accounting categorizes costs and only looks back. Budget adapt to external influence such as population shifts, changing citizen needs, global and economic issues. Why budget? To establish specific spending priorities for the next year, to allocate resources, to plan for the future, and to communicate with the public. Budgeting challenges. It's challenging to balance revenues and expenses. We're delivering a growing list of goods and services to the community. We have limited resources, and we're providing more services with less resources. How do we do more with less? There's also competing priorities on the budget, which are political, the community, operating pressures, and financial. Services provided by the village: public safety, streets and sidewalks, public spaces and parks, recreation and opportunities such as a swimming pool, playgrounds, and program space, water, sewer, and stormwater management, building, zoning, and property maintenance. Primary revenue sources: taxes, which are compulsory, user fees, discretionary, grants, and other smaller sources include interest and fines. Grants stretch our dollars. They typically used for capital projects that meet certain objectives of the county, state, or federal government, and the village aggressively and tirelessly seeks grant opportunities. Limitations. Many revenue sources have legal restrictions, such as MFT, the hotel motel tax, and Villa Park has limited flexibility because we are a non-home rule government. We are allowed to do only what the state legislature has specifically allowed. How do we keep track? The village has a number of funds. Each fund is a separate bucket where certain financial activity is tracked. Revenues for a specific purpose go into that bucket, and related expenses come out of that same bucket. And the village has 24 distinct funds. Are there different fund types? So there's governmental funds, which are tax supported. And then within that, there's operating funds, capital funds, and we also have business type funds, which are supported by user fees, so our water and sewer. And some funds have both operations and capital. So these are all of our operating funds, governmental operating. So there's the general fund, which is the main operating account, which is used to account for all financial resources not accounted for in some other fund. There's TIF funds, which spending can only occur on certain projects within the TIF district, and they're funded by the property tax increment. There's the MFT fund, which is street maintenance and repair, including salt, and that's funded by state disbursement based on population. There's the hotel motel tax, which must be used for tourist attraction, and we use it to help maintain our parks. And that's a 5% tax on hotel stays. There's the NEDSRA fund, which is a special recreation contribution plus projects for accessibility, and that's funded by tax levy for special recreation. There's our recreation fund, which is for recreation services funded by tax levy and user fees. Our parks fund, which is for park land maintenance funded by tax levy and user fees. Debt service includes all governmental debt except capital leases, and that's funded by tax levy and fund transfers. And our working cash fund is used to keep $700,000 in working cash. That money is reported in the general fund balance because it cannot be used without dissolving the fund. And there are capital funds, street improvements, which is the source of revenue is from non-home rule sales taxes and grants, and it's used for street projects. And the other capital fund is also funded by non-home rule sales taxes collected and to fund infrastructure, and also that fund pays for sidewalk projects. Our equipment fund is for vehicles and equipment, and there's no long-term funding source. So we currently use our portion of our annual rollover bonds that we issue. The land and building fund is for the purchase of property and has no revenue source. Building improvement is for facility maintenance and improvement and has no revenue source. The stormwater buyout is for stormwater projects, combined sewer separation, and that's funded by a monthly fee on utility bills. The DUI fund is for is sourced from court fees on DUI cases, and funds must be used for equipment associated with policing drunk driving. And the drug control fund is seized funds from drug arrests and must be used for policing drug enforcement activity, equipment and activity. And then we have the business type funds. So these are funded by user fees. And we have the water fund, which is funded by water user fees, and it pays for expenses related to the maintenance and operation of the water utility. Wastewater is funded by wastewater user fees, and it pays for expenses related to maintenance and operation of wastewater conveyance utility, and includes expenses for wet weather flow treatment facility. And the swim pool is funded by daily and annual admission, swim lessons, swim team, transferred from the general fund. And it's used for daily operations and daily maintenance of Jefferson Pool. And there's large facility expense items are often in other capital funds. And this slide is a summary of the proposed budget by revenues by source. I think it's probably hard to read, and I'm not going to read all the different revenue sources, but the largest one on the top right is our property tax is $9,222,300. Our sales tax is $10 million, and then charges for services is $11,258,791. This slide is a summary of our expenditures by fund, and it shows that our general fund is the largest expenditures at $24 million. And then the wastewater and street improvements are the next two largest funds. So the first step in the budget process is the department submission. They submit information for specified service levels. The village manager proposes and looks at changes and revisions, and we seek a balanced operating budget that is responsive to the needs of the community. Then there's public discussion, public meetings, and board discussions. And then the village board adopts the board priorities, and public feedback is included. The calendar, the first two steps in the prior slide are underway. The proposed budget will be available online at Village Hall and the library November 22nd. The budget workshop for operations and capital will be on November 22nd. The public hearing and first reading of the ordinance will be December 6th. The ordinance will be adopted December 13th. And the new fiscal year for this budget will begin on January 1st, 2022. That's it. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions for the director? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Well, hang on just a second. Trustee Kumar.
Well, after we look at the details, can we send you any questions directly?
Sure, sure.
They come to me, the questions come to me.
Yeah, questions should come to the manager. Okay, did you want to make any comments?
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Your Honor and board and folks in the audience at home and staff, the budget that was presented to you over the weekend last Friday, it's a balanced budget, and by that I mean that the revenues exceed the expenditures in the general fund. When you start going through the capital funds such as water, sewer, roads, and storm drainage, you're going to come to the quick conclusion that in 2022, the Village of Villa Park plans to expend, quite frankly, enormous amounts of funding on capital improvements. Some of those items could be we'll finish the Maple area, we'll finish hopefully Jackson Pond, we'll finish a number of other streets and sewer separation projects. But when you look at those figures, off the top of my head, I think it's close to at least between 25 and 30 million for streets, sewer, and water and storm drainage when you add those up. So that's a tremendous amount of engineering, road construction, sewer, water, and oversight. You should be very pleased. Staff has increased the amount that we've put into the Sidewalk 50/50 program. Staff has created a forestry unit for May through August of 2022 to trim trees, remove trees, grind stumps, and then come back through and do the landscaping. We put a crew together. I think it's a 4-man crew to paint fire hydrants. We're behind due to the COVID pandemic and painting some of these faded fire hydrants. And it isn't just painting, it's really scraping with the wire brush, actually taking off the nuts and oiling them, and then priming, and then coming back like a couple days later and painting them. So it's a whole process so that they not only look nice, but they function, and then the paint lasts. So we've done a number of items in the budget. Summerfest is in the budget. The 4th of July parade is in the budget. Brewfest is in the budget. We've also added Cortese concerts for the month of June. So there'll be 5 concerts in August. Be 4 concerts in August. And then July will be the Kiwanis concert at the gazebo. And then in June, there'll be 5 concerts at Cortese. So the whole summer will be packed with concerts. Summerfest, July 4th parade. If I'm not mistaken, Greg Gola, for the first time ever, has put in for the purchase of 2 trailers similar to what Lombard does when you have a block party. So there'll be tables and chairs. I can't remember if it's stereo equipment. So if you're going to have a block party, we'll have 2 trailers. You just rent the whole trailer and take it and have a good time over the weekend. Just bring it back on Monday, or we'll pick it up. I'm not sure how we'll do that. We'll probably pick it up. And so it's a number of interesting things in the budget. And again, a month from today, we'll have the presentation for the corporate fund, sewer and water, storm, and streets. So it'll be everything in one meeting. So that board agenda will be very small. We'll be talking about the budget. The budget's a planning tool. And the budget, and taken into consideration with the strategic plan of replacement of apparatus, sewer separation, roadway construction, and other items, it's a planning document that takes us from point A to point B. And that's what it does. I'm happy with it. As with any budget, it's a large in volume of paper and numbers. There will probably be mistakes that we find. Sometimes a formula doesn't carry over, because when we do the formulas, you pull from the Excel spreadsheet and then move it into something else, and sometimes the formula doesn't come over. So you're probably thinking, well, Keener, why don't you give it to the public now? Well, we don't, because we're still going through it too to make sure these formulas are right. So then we go through it on the 22nd. It's ready for the public, and we're talking about it, because after the 22nd, we're moving through the levy public hearings, D-sub public hearing, which is the debt service extension base with a rollover bond. So please take a look at the budget process. There's a lot of hearings, and even the taxation hearing, and so we'll be moving through all of that. It's a very nice document, as Marlene said. We've received many awards for the budget, just as well as we've received many awards for the audit, the annual audit. It takes a lot of time to put together this budget document. A lot of thought goes through. And let's talk a second for water and sewer. We can talk about the expenditures of water and sewer, but then you take into consideration the grants. Some of these grants are reimbursement. And so Director Guerrera has to consider, when is that money coming back to us so we can put it to use in 2022, because we're still closing out Harvard tonight. Next meeting, we're going to close out Third so that the county can reimburse us that $400,000. And then I think we had $788,000 for Plymouth that's still probably floating around from DCO. So there's a lot of thought that goes into this to make this stuff work. And if I'm not mistaken, the $4 million from DCO for the Jackson Pond is a reimbursement. And so we'll be working through that. And so it's not a small feat. So when we say a lot of thought goes into it, this is not my version. My version is in my office. And I bet you I have probably 75 to 100 sticky notes of things that I've given staff check, double check, triple check. And when we do that, we make sure that things are in the budget once. And, Chief Rivas, tried to sneak in extra squad cars. I caught him. Just kidding. Sometimes you have them in two different sections of the budget. You could have them in the police department funds, then you could have them in funds 65 and 67. And so you just got to check everything and account for that. Not that we don't want to buy 6 squad cars, but you just got to check and make sure it's in the correct account. So please take your time. If you have questions, please don't wait till November 22nd. Please give me a call, send me an email. I'm happy to meet with you. Marlene is happy to meet with you. The department heads will be happy to meet with you and me and Marlene. It's an interesting document. And on the 22nd, I'll have all my favorite stuff that I'll read to you about the 50/50 sidewalk, squad cars, implementation of the body-worn cameras, sewer separation probably, rear yard drainage, things of that nature. I have a certain checklist I go off to make sure every year that the money's in the budget, including Love Thy Neighbor, Your Honor, for a couple thousand, and some other items that seem to be our favorites that we kind of move forward with. And again, the 4th of July parade is in there in Summerfest, so looking forward to an awesome 2022 summer. Plenty of concerts and activities, so it should be very exciting. So, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And I did notice that the chief did try sneaking his ladder truck in there, too. 2 of them, okay. I just want to let the board know, as the manager just said, there's a lot of information here, and especially for the new trustees, don't get overwhelmed by it. Kind of go through it, and if there are any questions, the manager is more than willing to sit down with any of the directors. And I know my first couple of years, I had a lot of questions that were answered, and then they made sense the following couple of years. So your questions kind of go down, but don't be afraid to ask. But like the manager said, try to start reviewing it now, because we have 4 weeks, but we don't want to have a lot of questions on the 22nd. Hopefully all of your questions will be answered by then, and then it'll be just presenting it to the public. Trustee Murphy.
Yes, I'd like to request a copy of the presentation if possible.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I should have mentioned, what we do every year for the Budget 101, it goes on the website. So it'll be available to everyone, should be sometime tomorrow morning, I think. I'm looking at the Assistant Village Manager, McVeigh, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Director. Okay, we will move on to item 6A, minutes from the board meeting held on October 11th, 2021. And item 6B, bill listings for the weeks of October 11th, 2021, and October 18th, 2021, in the amount of $1,247,690.63. Do we have a motion for the board? Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, we have a second? Trustee Kumar? Okay, any questions? Trustee Kozar?
I just want to make a change on the minutes, and I was wondering too, I was looking back at some of the previous minutes versus the video. I know that we vote on them every 2 weeks for the previous 2 weeks. If one were to see a discrepancy or an inconsistency with it, how does one change the previous minutes? Is that by motion?
I believe. Is a motion? Yeah, we can just
Bring it
make
to our
a,
attention.
yeah, bring it up here and then we can make that.
And then what is the process of the minutes? Like, how do they get generated? Is that,
The
Village clerk
village clerk takes care of that.
does the minutes, yes.
so I just wanted to make the minutes more consistent here for the, under 8A. I don't think it just accurately reflects what was said versus what was on the video. It says Kozar trustee asked about EPS company, but in fact, what I had asked was if EPS was President Cazone's company, and asked if President Cazone should recuse himself. I would just like that to be clear, and we can check the video of that.
You just like that added to it?
Yes.
To 8A? Okay.
Okay, President Cazone,
Yes.
I do not do word for word.
Okay.
Okay, I just do a general information of the comments. And that is why it is never exactly what the question may be. It is the general idea of what it is. And then the sentence was, you said you recused yourself, the next line.
Yeah.
So people can look at the video if they want to see the meeting. But I do not do recording, like court recording. That's not the point, okay? And a lot of those comments, I can just say, discussion ensued. I don't have to give comments at all, okay? Just so
Okay.
you know
And
that.
that's the way you've done it?
And that's
yeah.
how it is with all clerks.
Yeah, okay.
We have that prerogative.
So to that point, the videos will stay on as YouTube? Because I
Yep.
recall an earlier comment that after 60 days, those videos could be taken off, but that's not our policy.
no.
Is that
They're on
correct?
YouTube
We've
probably
got
forever, as
years
long
of
as YouTube-
minutes
they're
on there.
Great.
Yeah, because I think by law, we have to keep them pretty much
Yeah,
forever, right?
We have minutes from, on YouTube from 2016 around there.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Clerk Reneke. Roll call, please.
okay. Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Salella,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, move on to item 7A. Ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the village code regarding sections in Chapter 2 of Article 29 of the Community Fund. Fund means Fund Unifying Neighbors Commission. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Focusing, I'm sorry. Focus. I'm sorry. Okay.
During the village board meeting held on August 23rd, 2021, the Community Pride Commission's name was changed to the Community Fund Commission. In certain sections of village code within Chapter 2 of Article 29, the name also must be revised. This ordinance is to ensure all references to the Community Pride Commission are revised to state the Community Fund Commission. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. We have a motion on this? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Thank you. We have a second? Trustee Salella? Okay, any questions? Oh. Trustee Murphy?
Yes, this is a first reading, I believe.
Yes.
I was hoping to make a motion to waive the second reading.
Okay, you can do that. We have a second on waiving the,
Mr. President, I'd like
Patrick?
to second that motion.
okay. Okay, Clerk Konecki, can we have a vote on waiving the second reading?
Okay, wait.
Are they Is that the only place that the Community Pride Commission comes up, the only codes?
Yes.
Just making sure.
Okay, so this is a vote to waive the second reading of this ordinance.
Okay. Okay, trustee Salella,
Yes.
trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
No.
trustee Murphy,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
President Kazel.
Yes. Okay, and the motion was on the floor for the ordinance. And we have any question or comments on that? Okay, seeing none, we have a roll call for the ordinance itself.
Okay. Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Salella,
Yes.
trustee Murphy,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Corkery,
Yes.
President Kazel.
Yes. Okay, that passes. Move on to item 7B, an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending Chapter 3, Article 3, Section 3-309 of the Villa Park Municipal Code. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village board is considering amending section 3-309 of chapter 3, article 3 of the Villa Park Municipal Code so that its liquor code pertaining to persons eligible for a liquor license, specifically to allow elected officials to become eligible to hold a liquor license. If approved, this ordinance will amend village code to reflect the Illinois Liquor Code, which allows certain elected officials under certain conditions to hold a liquor license. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion on this ordinance? That's true, that's right. What am I doing? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, any discussion on this? Trustee Kumar?
I am not comfortable necessarily with the wording, and I will be voting no because of the wording and the way this is written at present. I would rather that we align 100% with the state standard as it be. I feel it's a conflict of interest that trustees vote on things that to be a trustee or not. It's my personal opinion, the conflict of interest. So I would rather that we stick to aligning 100% with the state standard as was suggested at the April meeting before this was voted on by Christine Murphy.
Well, I'll ask the attorney who actually wrote this. It's my understanding that this proposed ordinance now matches the state ordinance. Is that correct?
So, yes, the state ordinance for eligible persons, as I believe was brought up during your public comment, refers to several things. What this language does, if you have the state code after, notwithstanding above, this is verbatim what an elected official being eligible to hold a liquor license. It's verbatim. What it eliminates is what is included in your, the ordinance that was adopted in April, I believe before you took office, which is basically the first part of the eligible office. First part of that statute allowing for elected officials to hold a liquor license. So eliminates that and adopts the second part. And it was this intent of the state legislature at that time, basically to allow for elected officials, trustees, to have a liquor license. That's why that language is specifically in there. Go ahead.
Why can't we write the code just to say that we will mirror the state? Because the state, we have to, as a non-home rule, be as strict as the state. I mean, we can be more strict, but we cannot be less strict than the state in our wording.
I understand. And
Given that, there's no reason just not to say that the Village of Villa Park, and make it simple, will follow the state ordinance as is. It prevents change in the future. It keeps consistent language for the long run.
Okay, so first, yeah, and you are correct. So prior to the April board meeting, the Village of Villa Park said elected officials cannot have an interest in a liquor license. In April, the board amended that section for eligible license holders to say that a elected official could have an interest in a liquor license if they met the four conditions as set forth in, and I believe it's four conditions as set forth in your ordinance. Basically, saying that you had to have, it had to be an establishment that served food, 51% sales had to be food. So, in other words, that the liquor was tangential to the sale of food. That's the first part of what is in Illinois statute. Then if you continue to read through, and I urge you to read that section of the code.
You get to the notwithstanding,
And then
yes,
you
I
read
have.
notwithstanding, and I would agree with the public comment that when you read that section, it is very confusing.
Yes,
And
I've
I
had a
think
lot
what
of
has
discussion
occurred
on this,
over many years, the state legislature amending that section results in that confusion. Ultimately, in the end, when you go back and you read the floor debates, which we've done, it's also clear that they then intended on allowing elected officials to be able to hold an interest in a liquor license, direct or indirect. And that's what you have before you. But you're the legislators. It's up to you on how you want to proceed. It's just suggested language at this point.
But it does match,
Verbatim.
yeah, the Illinois. Trustee Murphy.
Yes, thank you. I just want to reiterate what's already been brought up a couple times so far this evening. Back in April, our village attorney drafted a recommended revision to this ordinance. It was presented to the board and it was passed by the board. I am not in favor at all to making the changes and removing these 4 contingencies, and as such, I will be voting no to any proposed changes to the ordinance. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, since this is a first reading, we will bring, I don't think you can comment on this.
Yeah,
I think I can comment, I can't vote.
No,
That's
you
how
shouldn't
the,
comment at all. This
what
this
you
provides
propose says I can't comment, but what is in our statute right now simply says I cannot vote.
You're to recuse yourself from any and all discussions, and I would urge you to do that, especially that this would be a direct impact on you, so I would urge you not to even comment or participate in any discussion on this issue.
Am I misreading the current statute?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, no further comment. We will move on to resolutions. Item 8A, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a final change order number 1 to the contract with Builders Paving LLC of Hillside, Illinois, for construction of the Harvard Avenue Improvement Project, Jefferson Park to Plymouth, for a net addition in the amount of $7,233.91. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village has a contract with Builders Paving LLC of Hillside, Illinois, in the amount of $1,048,000 for the construction of the Harvard Avenue Improvement Project, Jefferson Park to Plymouth. Proposed final change order number 1 consists of the final balancing of contract quantities as measured in the field. The net amount of proposed final change order number 1 is an addition in the amount of $7,233.91 for an adjusted final contract amount of $1,055,233.91. Staff recommends approval of this change order. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Manager. Okay, do we have a motion for this order?
I'll
Trustee
make
Murphy.
that motion.
Do you have a second?
Mr. President, I'll second that motion.
Trustee Patrick? Any questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Salella,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes,
trustee Murphy,
Yes,
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
President Kazan.
Yes. Okay, item 8B, a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, establishing the holiday schedule and regular meeting dates for the Village Board of Trustees for the calendar year 2022. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Villa Park Municipal Code contains references to meetings and holidays. On an annual basis, the Board of Trustees establishes and approves a schedule of the meetings of the Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees, as well as the village's annual holiday schedule. Staff recommends that the President and Board of Trustees pass the resolution to establish the holidays and meeting dates of the Village Board of Trustees for the 2022 calendar year. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, we have a motion for this. Trustee Solella, we have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Corkery. Any questions or comments? Yeah, the only comment I have is I think we move in next year, we're going to move up the second meeting in November and the second meeting in December due to conflicts with holidays and things like that. But otherwise, we should stick on that second and fourth Monday schedule. So. Okay, seeing no discussion, Clerk Krenicky, please.
Okay, Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Solella,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Move on to item 9, public comments on non-agenda items. Clerk Krenicky, we have anyone signed up?
I believe we do, yes. We have Cheryl Tucker, the first one.
I just have a question to ask. Last meeting, you put across to move back to the planning and zoning on the public storage containers. My question is, and I take it is coming on to the planning and zoning meeting November 11th. It is scheduled to come up.
That's correct.
On that meeting, my question is, will the owners of the storage containers receive a letter telling the 12 items that will be coming up to planning and zoning, what they will be? Because nowhere is it listed, the 12 items of what it's going to be brought up to planning and zoning. Will those owners get a chance to see what those 12 items are?
Well, it's my understanding that would be on the agenda, correct? When the agenda for the meeting is posted.
So it will be printed on the agenda, those 12 separate items?
Correct.
So
Is that
they'll
correct?
be aware of that?
Manager Keenan?
Thank you, Your Honor. There'll be, I believe, in the public notice, if I'm not mistaken, and then I'm sure there'll be a description on the agenda. And there's not that many folks, we could probably send them a letter, Your Honor, and just say, hey, this is going to be discussed.
Okay.
Okay, a letter just to let them know, to give them heads up that that's going on in the meeting. 'cause
Happy to do that, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I feel it's important that we've been carrying this for a while, that those people involved with the storage containers should have a heads up. And I didn't know if the press release would actually list those things, because just on the agenda, I believe it only comes out, 2 days before that actual meeting? Or does it come in earlier than at their agenda?
That usually comes 2 days.
Yeah, 48 hours, Your Honor.
It comes up 48 hours. It doesn't give them a whole lot of time
Yeah.
to get together anything
Okay.
and read it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good comments, thank you.
And
Anyone else?
Justin Schlinsky also.
Thanks. Just a reminder, Pumpkin Smash is going to be this upcoming, 2 Saturdays from now, November 6th from 9 to noon. Pretty much a Villa Park tradition at this point, put on by the Environmental Concerns Commission to essentially smash all the used and or unused pumpkins, let the kids have a really good time, or let the adults have a really good time, either way. Hope to see you out there. I'll be out there with some coffee and donuts from the Dunkin' that's right there, so hope to see everybody there.
What times does that run?
9 to noon.
Thank you.
Second, on a more somber and unfortunate note, what a hell of a night on Friday night. I just want to commend and give a really hefty round of applause, or hopefully, for both our police and fire departments for handling all the activity that we had. It's too eventful for one day. Hope that we'll never have to see anything like that again. Just one thing that I saw so much speculation and misinformation being spread on social media on Friday throughout the weekend. For the public at large that is watching this probably the day later or the week later, I really just ask that everybody, and I know that we're in a social media age where everybody's on their phones all the time and everybody wants as much information as possible at once. So just restrict yourself and restrain yourself from commenting and posting videos of active police activity you are potentially putting our officers and, God forbid, innocent bystanders in danger when you're posting videos of where police are, when they're attempting to carry out and effectuate court orders and warrants. Just really think about what you're doing before you're posting anything on social media. Just glad to see that it was a good outcome for all intents and purposes. Just be very careful to the public at large. Just be very careful about what you're doing. You don't want to get in the way of anyone carrying out court orders and putting other people in danger. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Justin. Okay, any other comments? Okay, we will go to the village clerk's report.
I have no report.
No report,
tonight,
okay.
thank you.
Go to village trustees report, and we'll start on my left, trustee Kumar.
I have a couple of things today. I want to say that registration for youth baseball league is still going on. Grades 5 through 8 is still open until November 13th. So join the league and have fun, Villa Park parents and kids. Also, remember that Halloween is just around the corner. I really laud the efforts of the Conquest family and their pumpkins. I have yet to get my decorations out, so I know how much effort it takes to do such a thing. Trick or Treat is from 4 to 8 p.m. on Sunday, October 31st, 2021. I hope Villa Park residents will continue to support this fun event, as I loved every moment of trick-or-treating as a kid. If for some reason you do not wish to participate, just kindly turn off your front porch lights, and you may even put a note on the front door, I think, as a way to say, this is not my thing, which is fine. I ask that the children not eat any candy that is collected until they properly check it, and parents check it, because in the past there have been issues, and we want to be super careful. Throw away any open treats, please. And if at all possible, I ask that children go trick-or-treating as a group rather than alone or with adult supervision to maximize safety. I have utmost confidence in our police, local police, especially after their great job this past week on patrolling on Halloween Day, but they can't be everywhere at once. So please be careful, have fun, and I'll be waiting with my porch light on, all dressed up and ready to give out candy and my deck full of jack-o'-lanterns if this rain stops.
I will be over.
Yes.
Just one
Come on
comment.
over. I'm good with adults, kids, all alike. One more thing.
Just a second, trick or treating is from 3 until 8.
Okay, 3 to 8.
3 o'clock, yeah,
I'm
no
sorry.
problem.
I'm
So
sorry.
you can get out a little bit earlier and get more candy.
Yeah, get more candy. Okay, so one more thing I want to comment on. Last week, I did ask for a procedure to put things on the agenda as a trustee, as I did not see that forthcoming, and there seems to be no written procedure for trustees to add content to the agenda. I did put together a procedure and send it to all the trustees on the board as a process that we can follow. I have sent it to everybody. I'm not going to go into the details of the process at present. I just wish that all the trustees on an individual basis comment if they have any changes they would like to make sometime this week. And then this way I will know how to improve or change the process if anything is missing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Corkery.
No comments.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes, thank you. I think we're all going to be hitting on very similar things. Always thank you to the police and fire. I think I'll leave that to Manager Keener and President Guzon, because it has been a very extraordinary time for us in the last few days. We will look forward to the Junior Women's Club Trick or Trot, which I believe is at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. And that's traditionally starting at the gazebo. And then we move right from there into the Avila Avenue trick-or-treating from 1 to 4, and the costume judging down there at the depot at 3. And those are the things that I have on my calendar that I'm looking forward to. Let's hope for some good weather and look forward to seeing everybody out for a safe Halloween.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay, Trustee Kozar.
I had a few questions. There's been a lot of talk about liaisons over the last week. Can you clarify for the board what the role of a liaison is?
I believe the role of a liaison is to, as far as our commissions, are to attend the meetings and bring information from the commission back to the board and bring any board comments to the commission as a board. Whatever the board consensus is on items, you can bring that to them. The liaison also discusses activities that are going on in the village that maybe the commission doesn't know about. But I believe that's pretty much what the commission liaison's job is. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay.
It's not an active board member with a respective commission.
I'm sorry, can you say-
It's not, you're not, the liaison's not an active member of the respective commission.
So the comments of a liaison are restricted to simply whatever the board says to messenger out? Is that correct?
Pretty much, I believe. I mean, there's really no written items as far as how the liaison is supposed to interact with the commissions, but I think it's just been, I mean, I've been on the board for 6 years, and that's the way the liaisons that I've, been on with commissions, that's the way we've done it.
I know that in our September 30th meeting, Manager Keener had said that he was going to be removing the liaison comments from the commission agendas. Is that something that's going to happen?
Your Honor, I believe that's up to each chairman of the commission.
And additionally, we have the ability to video our commissions, correct, based on our current video contract?
We could, but I don't know what the cost is, Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The cost is approximately $300 per meeting. And right now, in this budget and in 2022, that's not budgeted.
I would like to make a motion that we video at least the planning and zoning meeting, and we put that into our budget.
But you could do that when you review the budget.
Yeah.
This is work.
Yeah, that could be, that's part of the review of the budget. You could ask that to go in there. I don't know if the board has to vote on that here.
No, not right now.
No, not correct, yeah.
I can't hear you, Mike.
No, not right now. That's something you probably would want to suggest when you review the budget, because you now have the budget in your possession to review.
So that would just be by an email, or, I mean,
You would make that suggestion, I believe, to the village manager.
I'm writing it down now, Your Honor.
I'm just thinking as a board, rather than a suggestion, to just make it something that the board either wants or doesn't want. A suggestion would imply that it's, we're asking of the village staff to do something versus, and they can choose to do it or not do it, versus the board saying this is something that we'd like to see.
Well, we can take just a consensus vote of the,
We could do it.
yeah, consensus. Yeah, I mean, Clerk Henneke, would you do that, please?
Yes, I will do
All right, so
that.
this is just a consensus of the board if we want to add to the budget of 2022, the videotape the planning and zoning commission meetings.
I have a question. Can we ask for the opinion of anyone here that's on that commission as to what the benefit and advantage of that would be? Because I have not been in a meeting, or Nick, can you give us some insight? Because you've been to most of them. I have no.
I don't know, I mean,
experience in
the planning and zoning commissions, there's a court reporter there, so there's always a transcript of the proceedings. A video of it is just, I don't know, it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna gain much, and I don't know if, Justin, if you'd like to comment on that, since you're on that commission?
I'm not chair of that commission, so I don't feel comfortable commenting as to whether you should or shouldn't. Speaking as just a general commissioner on two commissions, I don't see why you have to specifically narrow line or red line out planning and zoning. If you're going to start considering having videotapes of all commissions, I mean, maybe that's something that you bring to the village at large on a line item for the budget, not necessarily just planning and zoning, to your other comment of, you know, you already have a transcript, I think that might be sufficient, but again, I would defer to Jason Jarrett as the chair, and I think that should bring that to the November 11th meeting if that's something that you do, or ask the commission at large, really, if that's something that they even feel comfortable having with a court reporter already there.
All right, okay, thank you. Trustee Corky.
How much does a court reporter cost? I think in your head, it's about $200 a meeting.
It's about $200 according to the village manager.
So it's pretty comparable.
But, yeah,
Yeah, you have
Go
to
ahead,
do that
Chuck.
as part of the hearing. though.
yeah. Manager Keener can
So-
explain it.
So in every P and Z meeting, you have the court reporter taking verbatim minutes. And then if you're talking about recording them, that's an additional 300, so that'd be at least $500 per P and Z meeting. I'm not even sure that we could contact our current production company and they would do it for 300. That's just what we pay now for the board meetings.
Trustee Corky.
Why do we have a court reporter for the P and Z if we don't for the other commissions?
Because those are formal hearings, and you have to have the availability of the transcript.
Sure. And then wouldn't it make sense perhaps to videotape it too then?
That's up to you. If you wanted to do that in addition, you would have to have the court reporter for any hearings.
Yeah. So it's like having a video at a court proceeding, in a circuit court or anything like that. There's always a court reporter, and sometimes they'll videotape them too, whether it's worth it, Trustee Kumar.
I think the whole process is about transparency. I think that increasing videotaping or whatever just gives us more transparency. Now, whether we feel that's necessary or not, that we can discuss, certainly.
Yeah. Okay. Trustee Patrick.
Just to clarify that our current contract with Suncom does allow us to record multiple meetings outside of our board meetings.
For the same price?
It's in the contract.
For the same cost per reading?
You'd have to read that. It doesn't specify any difference in cost if it's outside of that meeting.
Okay, thank you.
But you're, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes, it is in the contract, but I think as in the environment that we're in right now, it's availability of personnel. And I'm sure most of us are well aware that hiring right now in employment is a very uncertain environment that we're in. In fact, just the other day, I pulled through McDonald's and I looked to my left and there was a sign that said, "Be kind to the people who showed up." And so everyone's trying to hire, and so I would have to have some conversations with our production company to see if they could squeeze it in.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Clerk Pennicky.
Okay, so we're doing consensus?
There's a consensus, yes.
Okay, consensus if you want to video P and Z. Okay, trustee Salella?
Yes.
Okay, trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
No.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
And President Kazone?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a consensus on that, and we can discuss that as we're going on with the budget discussions. Just Kozar, anything else?
Just one other question. Who is able to speak with the village attorney? When we first were voted in, the board was told that if you wanted to speak with the village attorney, you had to go through the president or manager.
That's correct.
But I've come to understand that individual commission members are now calling the attorney and having discussions, not the chairman, but individual commission members. I'm wondering where the disconnect is.
Well, I think that was done through the village manager, wasn't it?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. That was brought up with the village manager.
So the individual commission member was given permission to call the village attorney, is that what you're saying?
Correct. I believe that the village attorney was in for another matter, and he requested to meet at the same time. Or they requested to meet, and he was coming in anyway, and that's how it was. I don't know the exact situation on that. Major Keener?
Yes, one party wanted to talk to the other party, and I arranged that, that's correct.
Okay, I don't know if we're talking about the same incident. It was a phone conversation, not a personal meeting. But
That I don't know about.
if you're saying that, in order to talk to the village attorney, anybody can talk to the village attorney as long as it goes through either the president or the manager.
That's not
Yeah.
correct.
Go ahead, Manager Keener.
Well, Your Honor and Board, if that were the case, you know, I don't mean to be disrespectful to our village attorney from a billing standpoint, but the phone calls usually come to me. I might be able to answer the question. If I can't answer your question, I usually ask the village attorney. But to have all of us call the village attorney, I'm sure that the village attorney's billing services would be very happy. That at the end of the day, we probably would not be very happy.
Right, I agree with that. I'm just trying to get clarification because like I say, I see individual commission members reaching out directly to the village attorney. And I'm wondering, we're
Well, it wasn't
budget
directly, it
conscious.
wasn't directly from my understanding.
It was
through
the other way
it was through
around,
the
Your
village
Honor.
manager, yeah.
Okay. We're just being budget conscious for $300 on a video, so that just struck me as maybe inconsistent.
Okay. Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Patrick?
Good evening, thank you. I have just a couple of things just to reiterate what Trustee Murphy said earlier. The Villa Park Junior Women's Club Trick or Trot Race will be this Saturday at 9 a.m. at the gazebo on the Prairie Path. You may or may not see a couple of us dressed in costume cheering on all of our racers. So be out there for that. It'll be a fun race. It always is. It's a lot of fun. So come cheer on your runners out there. Lastly, every meeting I try to make an attempt to praise and thank our first responders of Villa Park for everything that they do. And to touch base on what Justin was talking about earlier today, we did have a very, very busy day on Friday and the last couple of weeks, and who knows what's going to happen from there. But it just goes to tell everybody that I believe that we have the best personnel and staff in department in all the state. Villa Park Police and Fire are doing an outstanding job, and because of the incidents that transpired on Friday, it clearly shows that they are doing an outstanding job. And we see it, we know it, so thank you. Again, really, thank you all for such a hard job that you do and a job well done. Thank you.
Okay, Trustee Salella?
Yes, good evening. I'd like to take a moment to give a shout out to one of our newer businesses in town that we welcomed with a ribbon cutting last week, Shoe Point Blank. It's now open for business. We had the opportunity to tour and get a first-hand look at the new facility, and I was quite impressed, as I'm sure other members were. Looks to be a nice addition to Villa Park and other surrounding communities. I think it'll do well there. It's in a great spot, and I hope people who have an interest in that type of sport take advantage of it and stop in and visit. Well done to our director and to our new business owners. Lastly, just wishing everyone a happy and safe Halloween. That's all I have.
Thank you. On to Village President's report. I had several things, but I think people have brought them up already. So the only thing I'll bring up is Coffee with the Board will be November 6th, first Saturday in November, 9 o'clock up here in the COW room. So if anyone wants to come and has comments or questions with the board, feel free to. There's coffee and donuts here. And that's all I have. Manager Keener.
Well, thank you, Your Honor. I do have a couple of items. I think Trustee Ciela's comments about Shoe Point Blank kind of reminded me, so I'm shooting from the hip here, Your Honor and Board, but I think we should have Director Burke come to the podium, and maybe he could mention about a couple other businesses that just opened, and then a couple more that were in the planning stages that should be open shortly.
So you thought you'd get out of it then.
Good evening. Yes, in addition to Shoot Point Blank on North Avenue, Poke Brothers, Wingstop, and Popeyes just opened. In the last week or two, Ross Dress for Less just opened at Villa Oaks Shopping Center. And Bell Tire on Roosevelt is getting really close. They're probably going to be opening next month.
Want to mention the Casey's?
At North Avenue in Ardmore, the former junkyard, it was going to be a Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's was acquired by Casey's General Store, and we are anticipating that they are going to begin construction next spring on a Casey's.
Do you have a timeline for completion after that?
It would be early fall is when they'd be open.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Your Honor, the next item that I have is that our April 1st, 2020 census has been certified by the Secretary of State, Jesse White, and I do have the papers with me this evening. So our new population for the Village of Villa Park is 22,263 inhabitants. And Your Honor and Board, I believe that's 359 increased from our 2010 census. And again, I'd also like to remind everybody to have a safe and happy Halloween. And if you do not like to participate, please turn your lights off. And I believe our police and fire should be driving around, passing out candy and having their lights on and things of that nature. So it should be truly a scary event in the Village of Villa Park. And Your Honor and Board, we've talked about Friday a couple of times now, and Chief Rivas and I have talked about it 3 times today. So I thought I would give him maybe 2 minutes or so to kind of give a debriefing to everybody that's here and for the folks at home that are watching, just what transpired and where we're at. Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, thank you, Manager Keener. And sir, thank you for your comments on the responsibility of citizens and social media. But it's not just social media, it's the media themselves. I knew one of the helicopters got a good shot of my backside as I was reaching into a squad on that same evening, so thank you, though. Well, as you know, on Friday, October 22nd, about 10 a.m., there was a home invasion that took place in Wheaton, where the victim was pistol whipped, allegedly by a domestic partner. The Wheaton detectives were able to trace that person back to the 300 block of North Ardmore. They alerted our detectives. They all went to that location. Wheaton detectives spotted the suspect as he was exiting his property. That suspect saw the Wheaton detectives back up and went to the rear of a 4-unit complex, and they couldn't see which unit that person went into. But he does have a residence there. Knowing that this person had known weapons offenses before, had just pistol whipped somebody, so we set up a perimeter, and we also contacted SWAT as well as crisis negotiators to bring about hopefully a safe resolution to the situation. All that takes time to set up, which it did, and obviously that attracts a lot of people. We had to cordon off the area from Ardmore, from Vermont to Elm, as well as a block on Division west of Ardmore. So all that takes time. We had to have our emergency Winnebago that we set up, our emergency vehicle that we had out there, as well as a SWAT when they accumulate. We also had to wait for a legal process to come into play. We had to wait for an arrest warrant. We were hoping for a search warrant. The state attorney's office granted us an arrest warrant for the subject himself, which means we're limited to go to that unit itself. And after numerous attempts by SWAT to try and gain entry and reach and make contact with the subject, they could not. They were able to determine that he was not in that area, and that cleared SWAT of their legal obligation to search his home. We could not get the legal justification to go into the other 2 units from the landlord, or we could not get the legal justification to go into the last unit. And we think he might have been hiding in one of those units. So we were out there for a good 9 hours with several other area police departments, SWAT, and everybody else. And every decision that was made by all the officers on that scene had to be cleared by my office before they took any action. So I respect and thank SWAT and all the officers who kept us informed as they were doing everything every step of the way. I also want to thank the citizens of Villa Park up and down the street. They were most gracious. They were kind. They were patient. They were always offering us food and water along the way. We didn't catch him, but I have a good feeling that we will in time. And we urge that person to turn himself in for a safe resolution to this and let the courts bear out what had happened on that day. If you have any questions.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, my last comment would be, I too applaud the fire and police, but I also would like to recognize the other departments as well. All the department heads and staff work very hard for various projects, and we have a very, Your Honor and Board, we have a very talented staff pool that work hand in hand with each other, and I'm very proud of them all, of all of them. I just wanted to say that. So thank you, Your Honor.
Trustee Murphy, last comment?
Yes, I would just like to recognize Manager Keener. Yes, all this was transpiring. He was keeping the trustees updated. And while we were all anxious and waiting for a resolution on the police situation, he advised us of the fire that was going on Villa Avenue, which was a bit of a surprise, something we weren't expecting. We're waiting to hear more about the police activity, and all of a sudden now we've got a fire. So I can't imagine being in Manager Keener's position when these things are happening and as they transition, and the hours that they occur during, and all the coordination efforts with the rest of the staff. So I would like to recognize Manager Keener as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and Your Honor, Board, I had hair last Thursday.
Again, and to all staff, thank you. Thank you for your hard work, and you guys are doing a great job. Okay, our next meeting will be November 8th, the second Tuesday of November. And that leads us to item 14, adjournment. Do we have a motion for adjourning?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Murphy, do we have a second? Trustee Kumar, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. And we will see you on the 8th. Thank you.